What's up, and welcome to Party Invite, where we invite you to a gaming community of diverse enthusiasts. Your party members today are Thomas Egan,
Yeah, baby. Glad to be back.
Devi Hill,
Yay, we're here and ready to party.
Carlos Gomez,
I am alive and my stomach is almost full.
Heck yeah. It's all you can really ask for.
and I'm your party leader, Chris Mowry. On today's show, it's officially E3 season, y'all. And before our coverage of its official showcases, we figured we'd recap some of our favorite things that have been shown off the past few weeks. A few biggies that happened that we don't have a ton to say about prior to Games Fest kickoff today was the Horizon Forbidden West stream, the State of Play. Did anybody get a chance to check this out at all?
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
The game's gorgeous is what you need to know about
Not
that.
according to Twitter, it's not. They are so mad about Aloy for some reason. Like it's
Look,
That's a whole
Gamergate's,
other thing.
bones.
yeah,
Don't be mad about
Gamergate's
bones.
Yeah.
gonna be mad no matter what you do. So don't worry about
Don't
it.
give them no never mind.
Yeah, Robo Dinos look real good. Love it.
They look good. There's basically it's essentially Horizon Zero Dawn as we know it from before, except it's got some Breath of the Wild elements. You can climb a ton of stuff. I don't know if it's quite as you can climb anything as Breath of the Wild is, but
Right.
it doesn't seem that far from it. You also have a cool
Underwater?
glider. Oh yeah, and there's underwater. The game just
Well,
looks
see,
gorgeous.
No, that ruins it for me. 7 out of 10. Too much water. Too much water.
Too much.
You know, but if
Dude.
you watch the video, oh my god, it's way too pretty.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I want a screensaver of that water, just all the time in my house.
It's gorge. Another thing that looks really good, but it was just a cinematic trailer, so I don't really know what to expect. Battlefield 2042. So this is the new Battlefield game in the slightly distant future.
I'm excited about a new Battlefield game, but like US versus Russia again.
I know.
Like I get that it's a conglomerate of like Russia and Japan or whatever, and that's fine. That's a new little but like we get it. We get it.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they gonna pick? Aliens? You know,
Yeah.
like.
What I did.
Why not?
Uh,
Bring a little crisis in there.
Yeah, I didn't watch the cinematic for that, but I read coverage on it. It seems like there's some cool stuff. Most notable is the 128 player count, which I'm really excited for.
on PC
Battlefield's known for
and next gen consoles only for that. It's if you have a
which
PlayStation
is
4,
for
it'd
the
be
best,
less.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sure.
Battlefield used to be the franchise I was the least interested in. Between Call of Duty, Battlefield, Titanfall was in there for a little bit.
Mhm.
Halo was in there for a little bit. I cared the least about the Battlefield franchise, but in this like post battle royale world, I think I'm realizing that if I want a shooter that is not a battle royale, then Battlefield is probably that because I like the strategy of it. It's
Yeah.
the same reason I like Overwatch, because you're never competing for kills in the team modes. You're competing for some sort of objective.
Right.
And so I think I hope that my time has come to enjoy Battlefield.
Yay! Be indoctrinated.
Yeah, I really would like to. I would love to love this game.
Yeah.
I just hope it turns out well. So there's no battle royale or single player mode at
Great.
launch. Who knows what that means? That's very murky. They might come out with a battle royale later, which wouldn't surprise me because it's just like the most requested thing in gaming, for better or for worse. But yeah, we don't know. We know some details, but we don't actually. I mean, who knows what this is going to turn out? With games as a live service, it could go any which way. But I hope that it works out.
Oh yeah, we're definitely gonna get the battle pass. Like
Well, we're getting a battle
yeah.
pass and stuff. They've already said that, but I think they're actually not going to do a battle royale because they pretty specifically said that there's not a battle royale in this. So
They said we have no plans for a battle royale at launch, which is a very intentional way to frame that.
I guess that's.
I
true,
hope. I personally, I'm an outlier. I'm in the minority of shooter players, but I agree, Chris. I don't want there to be a battle royale mode. I would rather they just really kick ass on other modes and make them pop.
Yeah.
Make something new. Battle Royale is cool. I just don't want a new shiny version of the same thing that we've had for 6 years.
Yeah.
That said, I'm just hoping that we get some really good glitches the first week with the tornadoes, the squirrel suits.
I want to see T-posing
yes.
cows in those tornadoes.
Yes, please. All of those things. First week.
Yeah, that I do. I do like the idea of those squirrel suits.
I have a strong feeling, and here's a prediction, because we won't see this till like July, because the EA Play thing is until July. But
Hey, birth month.
I have a feeling that the destructibility is gonna like blow our fucking minds, like how destructible the environments are. Like
I hope so.
I don't think it's just gonna be a levolution. Like here's one thing that you can do. From the cinematic trailer, they really highlight particles and shit flying off of stuff when you're shooting it or hitting it. So like I have a feeling it's going to be pretty. We know it's going to be pretty, but I think it's going to be pretty pretty intense. The amount of destructibility and stuff. I think they have to really lean into it hard for it to be something that stands out amongst all these shooters that we have now to play. You know.
We'll basically be able to slice atoms. So.
Yeah, let's do that. Another one.
The future.
Another one that was announced that, and they showed some stuff for it. Far Cry 6. I'm kind of at a point now. I was really hyped for Far Cry 5 because I really like the actor that was playing the father, and he still does a bunch of stuff like that with that character. But it's kind of let down by that game, and so I just don't care anymore.
I mean, once you get to a certain point in a series, it's just like, can we get that mouse? Like, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I really liked Blood Dragon, because it was like more of the same, but like so drastically different from the standard formula we got.
And it was short.
Yeah, it was short too.
You didn't have the open world bullshit of, all right, I guess I'll do one more takedown of this village or whatever.
And just it like takes place in like a Caribbean country. Very Cuba-esque, and you're like, they still have the pause for hire, but this time it's a Chihuahua named Chorizo.
Lol.
In a wheelchair. He has like no
back
legs.
It's also
and a alligator. So it's just like at some point I'm just like, all right, what are we doing here? We just gonna do the same thing, switch it up slightly. I honestly could kind of care less about Far Cry at this point.
Yeah.
It's a far cry from where it used to be.
For reals. It really is. Something that I put in here is that this maybe not a biggie, but they did a few days ago release a D&D Dark Alliance trailer that is narrated by Jermaine Clement of Flight of the Conchords and What We Do in the Shadows, and it is hilarious. If you haven't watched it, just go type in Dark Alliance gameplay. It's like a whole gameplay rundown of the classes, of the story, of all those things, but narrated by Jermaine Clement. And I think he should just be hired for everything from now on. It's so funny.
Yeah, I like that dude's voice.
But let's get into the big ass day of things that we had today. The Summer Game Fest Kickoff show happened today. This is Geoff Keighley's big thing that he's doing. A little callback.
The big man Geoff.
Geoff. So I'm pretty sure this started the show, but they started the show and they had Tiny Tina's Wonderland or Wonderlands, which from my understanding is just Borderlands but fantasy style RPG. So that is
do you guys
intriguing,
know?
But I don't really know what to expect.
Do you guys know who Tiny Tina is?
Nope.
I mean, as a character or like her actress or whatever?
Emily Birch is the actress.
As a character.
Ashley Birch.
Ashley Birch, thank you.
Yeah, so I never played. I mean, I actually don't like the Borderlands series very much, but Tiny Tina is in Borderlands, I don't know, 2 and or 3.
I think she was introduced
I know.
into, yeah.
And she has a DLC, so she's a wild off the rails character. She's like basically a kid, and she loves explosions and things like that. And there's a DLC, like her whole character is just explosive. She's like Louise from Bob's Burgers.
Okay, I like that.
I would call her
Yeah.
like a child Jinx from League of Legends.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a great description of that. She is totally wild and off the rails, and one of the DLCs in Borderlands is her running a tabletop campaign for the characters. Like that's straight up. I'm not really paraphrasing that much. That's actually what the DLC is.
Interesting.
So
And
in
that's
the
in 3 or
DLC,
2?
she's like, I want to say that's 2. I think that would have been 2. But like I said, I've barely played the Borderlands series.
So it's self-referential then, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the Tiny Tina thing being a fantasy gig is like based on the whole idea that she ran, like one of the DLCs was her running a tabletop game where there's like dragons and crazy fantasy elements. So that's what that is. That's what the Tiny Tina element of that is. So,
Sorry, all the
what
power
you
in my
could probably
house
expect,
is flickering.
Uh-oh.
Same here, actually.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
damn.
calm down.
Well, that's a good sign.
I mean,
Tiny Tina's Wonderland is actually coming to us right now. We're being absorbed through the portals.
Yeah, we're having some Jumanji shit happen right now. Just
I wish.
Yeah.
I
Bear
wish
with it.
all my heart.
So, yeah, I guess I don't love Borderlands like humor. Like basically with the stuff I was saying about 3, I was like, there's no way I'm playing this. The only thing that kind of gives me a little bit of hope is the actors and stuff they have for this. It's like Andy Samberg, Wanda Sykes, Will Arnett. It just seems like it might be better, which I'm hoping for.
It should be better, but it came about really weird to me with bringing that cast in, since we have a Borderlands movie already coming, like really awfully soon. So that kind of threw me off a bit, but I do think as a fantasy game, this might play really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see what comes of that, and I want to see, because it was also like a little cinematic we got, so I'm hoping to see more of that soon. Very next thing we saw was something that I never thought I'd see. Metal Slug Tactics.
Much excite.
Same. But also, who would have ever thought that they would revitalize not only the Metal Slug IP, but also to do it in such a way? Like, that's so...
Yeah, and it was
Right.
very, very reminiscent of the whole HD 2D thing that's going right now. Like, it wasn't obviously as crisp as Octopath and Project Triangle strategy.
I mean,
but
can it ever be?
Exactly. But this is looking good. It was Metal Slug, and it was obviously tactics, just like the Final Fantasy Tactics style. So this is a win-win for everybody that's a fan.
When we were doing the watch party hangout in Discord, I just kept saying, "What? What?" Like the whole time. I was just like so surprised that this is what they were doing with the property, and I just think I wish more things like this would happen, where you'd be like, "Hey, you know what'd be really cool? That'll never happen." That kind of stuff, you know.
Donkey Kong Tactics.
Donkey Kong, wrong tactics.
That might actually be coming, so don't accidentally jinx yourself.
Isn't that Rabbids? Isn't he in that?
Yeah, I guess they did have like the
there's
DLC
a hint. Yeah.
from Rabbids plus Battle Kingdom or whatever.
Right.
Huh. I didn't think about that.
There was a lot of stuff in this Summer Games Fest kickoff, and we're not going to get into everything because there's just too much. But
there is a lot. There's a lot.
So much. And some of it just seemed like there's Deviation. Was that the name of the studio that they just came up with, like, hey, we're a new studio. We used to work here. We absolutely have nothing to show you or to tell you about our game, but we're with PlayStation. It's like, why are we wasting our time here? All right, anyway.
Because I think it's because they want to show that that Sony has more, like, they're growing their first party portfolio.
Well, I don't think it's a first part. I don't think it's a first party.
Yeah, like,
they're just
Sony
saying they're
believe in us.
releasing
Give us
it
the
on
money. I
PlayStation.
mean, love and support. but
Yes,
also
money. Yes. Yeah, I'm always frustrated in these things where they go, "Hey, we're working on this. We can't tell you a single thing about it, but here we are to just tell you that we're doing stuff." It's like, that's a tweet. You don't have to get on stage to tell me. You can just send out a tweet that says, "Hey, we're working on this thing," and the internet will explode. You don't have to go into a conference and make the conference 15 minutes longer than it needs to be.
I will
Wouldn't that
say
be nice if we were
after
working on a game. Yeah, it would. Anyway.
Yeah.
I will say, like, looking at it in hindsight, it actually gets worse than it was at the time because it did break up a few things. Obviously, there were a couple more like dev diary videos, but otherwise, that was one of the only live
People on
presentations that they had, and it's like
There's no real
okay,
presentation. There's just two guys and a bunch of deviants.
yeah. So hopefully they
Deviation.
get a little bit more attention by
Deviant
actually
stuff.
showing us something in the future.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
What else we got? So Chris, you brought up Solar Ash, but did we actually see more Solar Ash?
Yeah, so you died. I
show?
think you died when this happened.
Oh yeah, my internet is real. Oh, it's rough.
So it reminded me of Shadow of Colossus, but on roller skates. Like you were basically roller skating or gliding across this creature.
Oh, that was Solar Ash?
Yeah.
That was Solar Ash, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
I don't know. I was just
That was
like,
awesome. It was sick.
yeah, I'm into it because I want to. Part of Hyperlight Drifter that was fun is there's no dialogue, so you're kind of deducing the world as you interact with it. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling they'll lean into that pretty heavily in Solar Ash as well. So I'm really interested to see how deep that stuff goes here because it looks beautiful and it's interesting. New and interesting things. Not the same old IP recycled is what's exciting to me anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And
I'm always here for
because
yeah,
is just such a classic.
Yeah. And I'm always here for a nice, like flashy, brightly colored indie.
yes.
And that soundtrack.
Carlos,
yes.
watch out. Thomas is gunning for your spot.
Then we got one that just absolutely kind of knocked us all off our feet. This is the first one I wrote notes down for. Planet Lana. Lana.
Lana!
Lana! A cinematic puzzle adventure framed by an epic sci-fi saga that stretches across centuries and galaxies. It's like a kind of
sounds pretty epic.
Hand-drawn art style, getting so much Ori vibes. This to me was like, I know there's a big show stealer at the end of this conference, but this was the one in this conference that I was like, all right, finally, something cool.
Yeah, I mean, it opened with the serenity, like this gorgeous landscape, your character, and you're just like, okay, what's happening? What's happening? And then it's foreboding things falling from the sky, and then it instantly transitions into both soundtrack beats as well as story beats that are like, okay, this is ripped straight from Ori, and I love it. I need it right now. Like, why is it not on my console? Like,
yeah.
please.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I like that Ori has kind of set the stage for games like this, because before, the only thing that I would have compared this to, especially the one moment with like the big creature, would have been Limbo, which I don't think is fair because Limbo is nothing like this game. All it is a gorgeous platformer.
Yeah.
But Ori really sets the stage for this like fantasy side scroller that has just like a huge scope and it's just eye candy.
Yes.
And with the soundtrack too. So like I feel like Ori is going to be the name that we bring up in conversations around games like this for at least another decade because it did such a good job of doing what it did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we're going to see more of that in the future.
Or the new Dark Souls.
Yeah. Also, I looked it up. It is Planet of Lana.
Planet of Lana.
I was actually going to say that too.
Planet of Lana. Well, yes, looks amazing. So excited about it. It's one of those ones that it's like one of those indies that I feel like everybody's gonna be buzzing about after the conferences. That one just looks absolutely fantastic. Another one that's
The zeitgeist shall be live.
Another one that's like co-op friendly and looks like a lot of fun, Endless Dungeon. We've seen stuff from this before, but they kind of showed an extended gameplay trailer of you fighting alien hordes with your buddies. Looks beautiful and awesome, kind of top-down isometric.
Yeah, a squad rogue-like dungeon crawler.
Yes, looks super cool.
The fact that it's squad is like the most important part for me, because this would look like a cool game on its own, but the fact that I can play it with my buddies is a game changer, because it really means you can mix and match your loadouts. At least I think it's a squad game, right?
Yeah.
I hope I haven't
Yeah.
been in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's
I mean,
it's like this and the Ascent are kind of similar-ish, with the Ascent being a little bit more Diablo-y. But just, top down looking at your character shooting a bunch of people. It reminds me a lot of like Helldivers, if you guys remember that, which was a fun co-op game. I think these two games could, depending on when they fall in calendars, could be big hits. And with the Ascent being on Game Pass too, I think that gives that a bump. I can't remember if Tunic was a part of this or Day of the Devs, but I figure we should just mention that one. That's the cute Zelda Fox one, which we'll have a demo for next week as a part of the Steam Games thing. So a lot of those ones that have demos and stuff we'll be talking more about in the next couple of weeks when we actually get to put our hands on them and play them a little bit.
and that's one that we've just not had a lot of information about for almost a year and a half, I believe. And
Yeah.
there was a demo a while back, but yeah, it's hoping to be the Zelda-like for the Xbox system and PC. So
It looks cool.
really down for it.
Cute little fox. Who doesn't love that? Then we had the showstopper. I guess this is the end of this portion of the show. Elden Ring. It's happening. They showed it.
Hey, we finally got news on it. What do you know?
And it looks beautiful. It looks crazy and wild. It's coming out in January. Like, they put a date on it. That was crazy. Couldn't believe that happened.
Yeah, January
And the era
21st.
That a
21st.
I don't think that a date means anything anymore.
Yeah, I just... sometimes,
that's
yeah.
true, but I mean, I'm in the position. So, like, Chris, well, actually, you know what? Let me just say up front. We all got together in the watch party earlier today, which we mentioned earlier in the show, because this podcast will be coming out probably on Friday. This will still be pre-actual E3. So if you hear this and you want to get in on these conversations, our Discord is wide open. We've got text and voice channels, whatever you're comfortable listening, getting involved in the conversation in, or if you just want to lurk. Chris, you had mentioned in the watch party that there was some indie game that you've seen a whole bunch of times, and you were like, "I'm tired of seeing it. Just release it into the wild."
Oh, it was
like just
it was Garden Story.
like have the 1.0. Yeah, and I think that's totally a valid thing to think.
Yeah.
On the other side, because I've seen that before, and because I spent so long being upset about like the No Man's Sky marketing. I mean, if you go back to things I've said on the internet, I've been mad about that for a long time. I don't think I want games culture to change so that we're not releasing footage and like teasers and stuff like 4 years before the game comes out. I think it's bad.
Well,
I think it's bad for the entire gaming ecosystem, and it's exactly what you're describing as like, quit teasing me with what the game could be or might be or what a demo is. Just release the damn game.
Well, a lot of that with the indie, especially in the indie world, is you'll probably see a trailer for a game because it's trying to be funded by Kickstarter or GoFundMe. So the whole reason why you've seen it for so the reason you've seen it for so long is because they released that first trailer that everybody got hyped on to get funding to make the game. So but like with Garden Story, I don't know if that's exactly what's happening. I think it was attached to Devolver or Humble Games or something. But it's just like anytime there's this Steam Games Festival, the demo's in there, and anytime there's a indie world something, it's in there. It's just like, I get it. You're playing as like a little grape or something, and you're harvesting and you're making crops. I get it.
You're moving in a cutesy world.
Yep. We're Stardew Valley in this. I get it. Stop showing me. It's
So-
just so much.
So on one hand, that's like the indie side of it,
Yeah.
where it's what you described. It's like, hey, we need funding. Please fund us. Then there's the other side where you get up into AAA with Cyberpunk. That was at like 5 E3s or something. No Man's Sky was at like 4 E3s. You basically, like, in Elden Ring has been teased. I mean, shit, when are we going to hear about Starfield again, or whatever the Bethesda time was?
We're gonna hear about it on
Supposed
Sunday.
to hear that. Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope we do. But my point is that, so we almost have two different worlds of like the AAAs and the indies, where if you're gonna show me footage, either don't show me a release date at all, like don't make a promise that you can't keep. And to that end, like if you're a AAA and you think that you have the funding to get it done, then just get it done. Wait until you have actual give me, I don't know, alpha or beta footage. Like, give me something substantial, so that I'm not sitting here looking at a trailer that's dope and then I have to wait 3 years for a release date.
Hype
Like,
train.
I
Bro.
hope Elden Ring is cool, and I also hope that it's the last. I mean, I'm not holding my breath here, but I hope it's the last of these games that are just teased for over half a decade.
So, to be fair,
Thomas,
we have only seen one teaser trailer of Elden Ring, and that was like
it was just
2 or 3 years ago.
Ridiculous fan thing.
Wait,
And
that's the
fans,
only thing we've
ridiculous
seen
fan
about it?
response.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's been
why.
the fans
Then you
that
know what?
won't shut up.
It's fans like me who get way too excited about it, who just need to shut up.
Just let it happen when it happens, and it's coming soon.
It just simmered on
Okay.
Twitter for literally 2.5 years. Nobody would shut the fuck up, and it's just now. It's like, you wanted it. Okay, this is exactly what the game is. We actually have gameplay for you. Shut the fuck up is exactly what
Okay.
this was. Like Geoff, like literally, like his moment on that video today was so funny, but it was actually, I feel like it was truly cathartic for him, because he's like, it's out. It's no longer my fucking problem. Like, here's the gameplay. You're fucking welcome. Leave it alone.
That's because it also
it's
leaked.
coming.
Like pieces of it leaked, and it was all like garbled, bad-looking footage, and
Yeah.
that's a
Okay,
good
well, I
moment,
feel a
though.
lot better about that then. That's exactly why speculation is bad, because my understanding wasn't the reality. It was what I believed based on people's
it was the twatter.
internet opinions. Yeah, it was.
So then we had this other part of Summer Games Fest, which I feel was actually much better than the actual. I mean, we didn't get like Elden Ring or anything like that, and we had Planet of Lana and all that. But Day of Devs was like sponsored by Double Fine.
Oh, wait,
So
it's
Tim,
not my birthday yet.
Day of Devs. I
see.
Yeah, you missed out on your own hashtag.
Yep, you did.
Dude,
Okay,
Carlos
I'm
called it. You are eternal. Dude, Carlos called it at the beginning of everything. He was like, pretty sure Day of the Devs is MVP today, and he was totally right.
Yeah, pretty much nailed that, Carlos.
So good.
So what this was it was like hosted by Double Fine or sponsored by Double Fine, because I'm assuming they're going to show more of Psychonauts 2 at some point this week. And Day of Devs was just honestly like, it would jump to a developer who would either introduce another dev and be like, look how cool this thing is that they're making. And it was all indies. So a lot of highlights in this one. Axiom Verge 2. I love this note in our notes here. Still no date, but this summer is the quote. So
Coming this summer, Axiom Verge.
Yeah.
sometime very soon we will get that game. And it's been quite a long time since the first one, but it is made by one person. So
Yeah.
let's go
How
easy
fun is
on
it that we're
people.
getting a new Axiom Verge before we get a new Metroid? How fun is that?
That is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild times. This next one, The Wandering Village. This is a Studio Ghibli looking city builder, but you are on top of a giant creature, and it's like a symbiotic relationship between the people that live on top of the creature and the creature. You can like zoom out and see the creature like wandering through different biomes, which will create different hazards and things and opportunities for your village that you're building. And then you can like zoom right in on all the villagers like doing stuff on top of this creature's back. It is so interesting. I would just say look up a little trailer for Wandering Village. It is super fun looking. It just looks cool. I'm just glad.
Yeah.
Give me more new fun stuff. This looks great.
Yeah, out
That
of a
concept kind of reminds me of like Xenoblade Chronicles, where you're traveling along the giant. What are they called? The
the Titans. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I always just thought that was really cool. Give me more of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like in a list of games that are hugely unique. I mean, as we get that with indie games all the time, but like just the list that we have here, a lot of them are super unique, but this one stood out for just being like, holy shit, this might actually give us another new genre, because it was that. It was like, here, I'm gonna take the Titans from Xenoblade. I'm gonna add a little bit of Stardew for the farming stuff. I'm gonna add, for some reason, the Fire Emblem squares, because the exact way that you change the camera in Three Houses was exactly what you could do in Wandering Village. I was like, wait, what? Because I was like, oh, during the live stream, I was like, oh, this is like isometric, and then they immediately showed them going in and out of the camera and changing angles exactly like Three Houses, and it's like, hold on, what? Okay, this was incredibly unique, and I don't care what system it's on, I'm gonna have it.
It looks awesome.
Yeah.
Next one that looks super cool. I mean, there's a bunch of these. So Death's Door, in parentheses, Crow game, is what we have here. It is like a Zelda-y, like a dark Zelda, almost like more kind of like Hyper Light Drifter, but with like 3D graphics. Like kind of dodge and slash, discover more about the world by exploring, that kind of game. It just
reminded me of
looks
Hades.
Yes, it does kind of have that, some of the colors and stuff. I'm stoked for Death's Door. I think Death's Door looks fantastic. I'm going to try to pronounce this next one.
Vocabulantis.
There you go, Thomas. I like that. Yeah, meticulously created stop motion animated platformer. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It looks fantastic. This shouldn't be confused with the what was the one we talked about on
like Harold's something?
Harold Halibut. This is not
There we
Harold
go.
Halibut, which is also looks like a claymation Wes Anderson movie adventure game. This one is more of an animated platformer. It also seems like it's pretty early on in its development, because they showed some, but it also seemed like he was still making the game, because it was showing exactly how he has to move the characters and how many times it has to get photographed in order for anything to happen with it. But it does look cool, and I'm all for more stop motion animated video games. Like, let's keep doing that.
Yeah, the dev diary was more like a Coraline behind the scenes thing. It was pretty great.
So I missed this one, Carlos. So you're going to have to talk about, I think, these next two, because I don't think I got to see either of these, really.
Yeah, the next one on our list here is Despelote. It's a semi-autobiographical game about the developer's experiences as a child in Ecuador. There's a specific Central Park area in Ecuador, and obviously down there everybody's obsessed with soccer, and so you're playing as this child. That's kind of just ruining people's day. It very much felt like an Untitled Goose Game, except with this loving story that is really just nostalgia, and it literally has, it's not even a sepia filter. You think of the Return of the Obra Dinn, except it's all brown.
Except for the characters are white and like animated.
Yeah,
it's so
the characters are almost paper craft. It's very different, but very similar to Obra Dinn as far as visuals go, because you know right off the bat you're like, I'm not gonna like this, or oh, I really like this, or I can't watch this, like Thomas did.
100% agree with that. Yeah, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I have eyeball problems, and they specifically cannot handle this kind of visual.
Yeah, because
like
it's got that
somebody else can have
64
to report
style.
it to me.
It seems pretty wholesome from what I've seen.
Yeah, it looks pretty. It looks like that, like a wholesome.
Very much.
type.
Like it might have some slightly political overtones, but otherwise you're playing as a kid in Ecuador in a very specific time period, and you get to wreck shit, it looks like, every once in a while. So that'll be fun.
Hell yeah.
And then
Walk. What's that?
Yes, Walk.
Yeah, baby.
Oh my god, that looked really good. So, for anybody that's in the know on horror games, it's there are a lot of YouTube videos on it. Specifically, like Game Grumps made it kind of big. But Yomawari is a horror game where you're just playing as this kind of chibi character, like a little girl running around a Japanese city at night, and some creepy shit happens. And Walk looks basically like the 3D version of that, but in a very PS1 graphical style, like harsh, dark, very much like if you decided to mix Ringu with Silent Hill, that's what you got.
Okay.
Yeah, very much like it's appropriate that you would compare it, because I don't know Yamawari, Carlos, but after we were talking, I'm definitely going to go look that up. When this thing appeared on screen, I was immediately spooked. I love spooky stuff, and like in broad daylight to see this, I was just like, man, my skin is crawling right now. It does a lot with a little. And it really does look like an old, like parts of it almost reminded me of like an old Resident Evil game if it had a VHS filter on it.
Yeah.
That's kind of an oversimplification, but no kidding, like the vibes that it was trying to achieve, it achieved. Like there is no doubt that this game is going to be spooky, because the trailer was like legitimately spooky. Yeah, that game. So that game is called Walk. And I definitely have my eye on it. It just does some really interesting visual things in a way that I'm excited can exist in 2021, because it's such a retro, an intentionally retro style to it.
Right.
Very cool. Devi,
Yeah.
one
That is one of
Okay,
all
good.
the things we've talked about. I would say that's the one I most highly recommend that you need to actually look up to understand. So that, yeah, again, that game is called Walk. WALK.
The next one here, Devi, you are going to be about it. It is called Unbeatable. It is a anime rhythm game that reminded me a lot of Scott Pilgrim, like just its style, the way they're doing everything. You can actually go get a demo for this right now on itch.io, Unbeatable Arcade Mix by D-Cell Games. It just looks so cool. They said something like the songs that you learn as a band are based off of your decisions in the game. So I'm having a feeling it has like some type of like Persona-y type elements where you need to like have relationships with characters in order for certain songs to appear. It just looks cool, and I can't wait to play this demo now that I know that it exists.
Except it doesn't anymore. They actually just added an update, and it moved to like a different location.
Oh, really?
So,
I just downloaded it before this.
If you follow that link, it'll tell you, hey, this is like, it'll tell you where to find the new one, basically.
Oh,
but it's not. It's the arcade mix doesn't exist anymore.
That must have just happened because I downloaded it before we started this.
Yeah, like I looked into it, and it was just like, oh, this update's not available anymore. I was like, really? We literally just put this in the thing. Like, what are you?
Breaking news.
So maybe
I want to watch one or both of you play this game.
Yeah.
Especially Devi, since you just upgraded your virtual reality gig, your rig, and you've been bumping that Beat Saber. I've seen it.
Yeah. I'm
so
excited
this is
because I'm also about to get a new 3070 card from someone who's selling theirs.
Dang.
Yeah. Things are coming up for my rig, so I'm really looking forward to playing more Beat Saber and in higher definition. Yay!
Heck
nice.
Yeah.
If we both play this game, Chris, it's definitely going to be like one of those Facebook ads where it's like noob versus pro. Like, I think
it looks.
What are you trying to say?
It looks interesting. I'm excited to try out the demo. I most likely will bounce off of it, but it does look cool, and I'm excited to see what it is. Another one that was this is so weird. Phantom Abyss, the next big asynchronous multiplayer game, Indiana Jones the roguelike. And I also
Give it to me.
was thinking of like Pitfall,
it
because
seems
you're
dope.
like latching onto things and like swinging and all that. It just looks so interesting.
It's so good. It's so good.
So
it's like
it's a
Legends of the
3D
Hidden Temple, the game. I can't wait.
Dude,
I'm
Yeah.
so
yeah.
excited.
It
Good
really
call.
is. So it's a 3D platformer. You have an Indiana Jones. What's it called? Not a whip. You have a whoosh, and you can grab onto ledges with it. So you try to avoid spikes and boulders and pits and a guardian of the temple. But what seemed most interesting of all of that, because all of that sounds cool, it's roguelike, right? Is that for every seed, for every unique temple that you find, just like you'd find in any other roguelike, only one person in the whole entire world can complete that temple. So anytime you're in a temple, you're competing to be able to be the one to complete it. And as far as I can tell, like the ghosts that were running around in the trailer, they seem to be like the bloodstains from Dark Souls, where those are the people who have tried and died, but you can see them, so you can at least, as you're traversing the temple, see how people died before you make the same mistake they did.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I have those facts right, but that's the impression I got from the trailer. But I really like the idea that only one person can ever reach the end of any seed.
It's
that's
cool.
just like a really cool concept.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I can't wait to see more of it and like how the internet and Twitch community at large like grab onto that, because that seems like
Yeah.
that seems perfect for that.
Yeah, some influencers rather have already gotten their hands on it, and I've seen, for instance, Grand Pooh Bear, the Super Mario Maker, and also like
I love
Mario
that.
Kaizo speedrunner, who is currently streaming a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5. But I digress. He actually streamed a session of that, and I watched him play it, and it's really intriguing just to see it in action, because like you can see like the trailers or whatever, but that's fabricated trailers and everything.
Right.
So to see like an actual human being game and like making decisions and things like that, it's different, and to see that human element is really cool. And I look forward to seeing more of that human element from just like casual non-speed running people, to see like what kind of things that they do, because it looks like you can flub up in some really funny ways.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
The next one, another Studio Ghibli-esque type situation. Behind the Frame, the notes here, we were joking about. Go ahead, Thomas.
So the trailer starts, and it's this gorgeous, like absolutely gorgeous, hand-drawn looking anime picture of this artist. Well, beautifully animated. I mean, I think technically it's anime, but it's this beautifully drawn picture of this artist at a canvas. And Chris said what we were all thinking, and he was like, okay, well, but this isn't what the game looks like, because certainly I expected it to be a cinematic, and then after the cinematic was done, we'd see gameplay. But no sooner does he finish, like the words are out of his mouth, and the game zooms back a tiny bit, and then the perspective looks around, and it's just like, wait a minute, this is the game.
Yeah, it changes the so the cutscene is like out of body, and then all the gameplay is in first person, and it looks really interesting. It just kind of looks like a what they said is a tear-jerky, it seems like adventure game, where you can interact with a lot of different things in the world. Like she makes herself a cup of coffee, and it looks beautiful.
It seems somewhat like a point and click game, but the thing they were trying to create with this was the sort of like beautiful anime, like atmospheric panoramic environment, and I think they completely nailed that. I mean, based on the joke we made, we're like, oh, okay, but what does the game look like?
Yeah. And
then it turned out that was the game. It was just like, damn, like they hook, line, and sinker. I mean, they wanted it and they did it. I just want all the games I play to be that gorgeous. I mean, it almost is like jaw-dropping gorgeous.
Yeah, it just like it looked special. I don't know what the meat and potatoes of the game are so much, you know.
Who cares? It looks great.
But like the whole like point of it, besides you just being an artist that lives in an apartment, like what else is going on, you know? Like I want to know those bits.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds about right. That checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there'll be a demo for this too. Like I just feel like this Summer Games Fest that's happening in a couple weeks is we're just gonna get a flood of amazing cool demos to try out. And like we said, there's so much more stuff that was announced and shown off at these things today and recently. These are just like things specifically we wanted to talk about and kind of bring up, maybe shine a light on some of the things that maybe got overlooked by some people. Thomas, you want to let the people know what we're doing for the rest of this week, or this weekend? I mean.
Sure. So we
E3.
E3 is pretty dope. There's a whole dang weekend of E3. There's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Technically, there's stuff happening on Friday, but we're not going to record anything about it. But we will, in some degree, be in the Discord to hang out for another watch party.
Yes.
But there's a ton of stuff going on. You can find E3 schedule either on the internet, or you can find it on our Discord or our website, which is partyinvite.games. Carlos has done a good job of rounding up a bunch of details for that. Especially because the schedule was kind of hard to pin down until like just a few days ago.
Yeah, it was.
But anyway, we're gonna watch party that stuff in our Discord. We are going to record roughly a 1-hour reactionary podcast per day for those 4 days, and then afterwards we're going to have community games, a whole bunch of games with a whole bunch of people, and I'm really excited for it. What we were going to do was do a bunch of Twitch streaming and all this stuff, but I just moved across the country, and parts of my computer did not survive the move. So all of my production aspirations kind of went out the window. Or more likely, they all burned up because my CPU cooler stopped working. But that's a big F in chat for everybody. If you could just put an F in chat there for me. But yeah, we can't do that. But we're gonna have our Discord popping instead. So if you can hear our voices, we would love to either text or voice chat with you this whole entire weekend. This is like gaming Christmas.
Yeah.
Like regardless of the quality of the trailers, I mean, there's gonna be plenty of good stuff.
Yes.
But I just love to be excited about gaming with all sorts of good people, and that's what this weekend means to me. I'm really looking forward to it. I had a great time today, and I'm really hyped that we have at least 4 more days of this ahead of us. That sounds
Thomas,
dope.
you're gonna make me cry. You're so wholesome. I love it. I just want to hug you.
Well,
Why
this
did
is
you have to move.
this whole weekend
I'll come back.
was like the basis for like getting Party Invite going. Like the inundation of like so much gaming news all at once was like, oh, I'm excited about games again. I got to talk about it with somebody.
Right. It's like there's too much excitement to be kept to myself, right? And to be able to find other people who are just like, oh, I finally have somebody. Yes.
Reunited.
And it feels so good. Strike. Devi, do you want to let everybody know where they can find us?
I mean, yeah, you can just go to our official link tree, linktr.ee/partyinvite, and you'll have a beautiful list of everywhere that you can find us, all of our social medias, official website. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much does it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Pretty simple.
Yes, make sure you all join us for the rest of the weekend. For all the major conferences and stuff, we'll have a little watch party going in the Discord. Just go to E3 Watch Party. You can click on there. You can voice chat with us, like Thomas said, or if you don't want to do that, you can just hop into the other one and just do the texty chats. Whatever you feel comfortable with, just come join us. Come have fun. We'll see you all soon.
See you soon.
Bye.